This is a denarius, minted in 64 AD under Emperor Nero, pure silver, 4 grams, worth a day's wages for a Roman legionary. This is the same coin, but 50 years later, half the weight, barely any silver, worth a fraction of what it was, but still called a denarius, still supposed to buy a day's bread. Between 64 AD and 274 AD, Rome reduced the silver content in their coins from 100% to less than 5%. Prices exploded 1,000% in some regions, soldiers deserted, borders collapsed, emperors were assassinated every few years. By 476 AD, the Western Roman Empire was dead. Now here's the uncomfortable part. Since 2008, the United States has increased its money supply by over 400%, not by mining more gold, not by creating more value, by clicking buttons. Like Finney says, history doesn't repeat, but it sure does rhyme. And right now, it's rhyming in Latin. This is the story of how an empire destroyed itself from the inside, one coin at a time, and why the pattern looks disturbingly familiar. Welcome to Finney Chronicles, where history meets money, power meets consequence, and every story is a warning somebody ignored. Germania, 35 AD. Meet Marcus Aurelius Antoninus, not the famous emperor, just a legionary. 10th Gemina Legion, 25 years old. He's been stationed on the Rhine frontier for 3 years, fighting Germanic tribes, freezing winters, brutal summers, constant threat. He enlisted for one reason, the pay. 225 denarii per year, enough to feed a family, buy land when he retires, build a future. The contract was simple: serve 25 years, get paid in silver denarii, receive land at a pension, the empire's promise to those who defend it. Payday arrives. The commander hands Marcus his coins. Something's wrong. The new coins are lighter, smaller. He bites one. Soft. The coin he enlisted for was 90% silver. The coin he just received? 50%, maybe less. Same face value, same emperor's face, half the actual metal. Marcus confronts the commander. This isn't what we were promised. The commander responds, it's what Rome can afford. Take it or desert. Your choice. Marcus's jaw clenches. He takes the coins, walks away. As Finney says, a deal's only a deal until one side has a printing press. Then it's a suggestion. 6 months before Marcus got cheated, Emperor Maximus Thrax faced a problem. The empire was under attack on every border. Germanic tribes in the north, Persians in the east, rebellions in the provinces. He needed soldiers, lots of them, which meant he needed money, lots of it. The treasury, nearly depleted. A senator proposes, raise taxes, Caesar? Can't. The people are already starving. Tax them more, and they'll revolt. Another advisor suggests, reduce military spending? Can't. Cut the military, and the borders collapse. One advisor steps forward. There is another way, Caesar. We don't need more silver. We just need more coins. The emperor, intrigued, asks, explain. The mint master continues, we reduce the silver content, mix in bronze, copper, tin. The soldiers still get their 225 denarii per year, but we use less silver per coin. The same amount of silver makes twice as many coins, maybe 3 times. The emperor smiles darkly. Do it. Like Finney says, when the government runs out of money, they don't admit failure. They just redefine money.
Back to Marcus. A baker examines the coin Marcus offers, shaking his head. This used to buy 3 loaves. Now, 1, maybe. Marcus, frustrated, it's a denarius, same as always. The baker laughs bitterly. Same name, different coin. I have to pay my suppliers in the old coins, the good silver. Everyone's hoarding the real silver, only spending the junk. Gresham's law, they'd call it centuries later. Bad money drives out good. When you have 2 coins, one pure, one debased, both with the same legal value, you spend the bad one. You hoard the good one. Within months, all the old pure silver coins vanished, melted down, hoarded, smuggled out of the empire. Only the junk remained. And prices? They exploded. 235 AD, a loaf of bread costs 1 denarius. 245 AD, 4 denarii. 260 AD, 20 denarii. 274 AD, 100 denarii. Marcus still earns 225 denarii per year. The number hasn't changed, but what it buys? Almost nothing. He writes to his brother, the coins they give us are worthless. Bread costs more each month. We are paid in promises, not silver. I don't know how much longer I can stay. He wasn't alone. Across the empire, soldiers deserted. Why die defending an empire that pays you in garbage? As Finney says, you can't build an empire on trust and then print your way out of promises. 270 AD. The Roman Empire has shattered into 3 pieces. Barbarian tribes pour across undefended borders. Plague sweeps the cities. Emperors are assassinated every few years. Between 235 and 285 AD, just 50 years, over 50 men claimed the title of emperor. Most died violently. Historians call it the crisis of the 3rd century. But the crisis started here, in the coins. When soldiers aren't paid, they don't fight. When they don't fight, borders fall. When borders fall, trade stops. When trade stops, cities starve. When cities starve, civilization collapses. Marcus survived to retirement. 25 years served. His reward? A plot of land nobody wants, on a frontier nobody can defend. And a pension paid in coins worth less than the metal they're stamped on. The empire kept its word, technically, 225 denarii per year, just like the contract said. They just changed what a denarius was. Like Finney says, the easiest way to break a promise? Change the definition of the words. Rome isn't unique. Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, Venezuela, Argentina, Lebanon. Every civilization that debased their currency faced the same fate. So let's talk about this. In 1971, President Nixon ended the gold standard. For the first time in history, the US dollar was backed by nothing but trust, just like Rome after they debased their coins. For 30 years, the system held, mostly. Then 2008 happened. The Federal Reserve's response? Print. The money supply doubled. COVID-19. The response? Print more. In just 2 years, the United States created 40% more dollars than existed in all of American history before 2020. 40% in 2 years. And just like Rome, prices exploded. Official inflation hit 9.1% in 2022, but if you actually buy food, pay rent, or fill your gas tank, it feels a lot higher. The mechanism is identical. Rome debased the silver, print more coins, pay soldiers in trash. USA, print more dollars, keep wages stagnant, pay workers in devalued currency. Different technology, same theft. As Finney says, Rome debased coins. We debased data, but the empire still falls the same way. Slowly, then all at once.
The parallels don't stop at currency. Rome couldn't recruit soldiers because the pay was worthless. The U.S. military is missing recruitment targets. Rome overspent on military and welfare. The U.S. national debt is $34 trillion and growing. Rome had political chaos and rapid emperor turnover. The U.S. has, well, turn on the news. Rome's borders collapsed when soldiers deserted. The U.S. border is contested, to put it mildly. Rome faced rising rivals, Persia, Germanic tribes. The U.S. faces China and regional challengers. This isn't about politics. Left or right, red or blue, doesn't matter. Both parties printed money. Both parties ran deficits. Both parties kicked the can down the road. And just like Marcus, the people who serve, who work, who save, they're the ones who pay the price. Your savings, quietly confiscated, not by a tax you can see, by inflation you can't escape. So is America Rome? Not exactly. Rome's economy was pre-industrial, agricultural, limited. The U.S. has the most productive economy in history. Rome had limited technology. The U.S. leads in tech, innovation, and research. Rome's currency wasn't the global reserve. The dollar is. But here's the thing about being the global reserve currency. It gives you enormous power. You can print money and other countries have to accept it because oil, trade, debt, all priced in dollars, until they don't. China and Russia are building alternative payment systems. Saudi Arabia is considering selling oil in yuan. The world is slowly, quietly moving away from dollar dependence because they've seen this movie before. They know how it ends. Like Finney says, empires don't collapse because they run out of enemies. They collapse because they run out of trust. Guard yours carefully. So what do? You can't control the Federal Reserve. You can't stop Congress from spending. You can't single-handedly prevent currency debasement. But you can prepare. Marcus couldn't save his silver denarii, but you can choose what to hold your wealth in. Real assets, property, businesses, skills that have value regardless of currency. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm telling you to be aware. Inflation is a tax you can't vote against. It's invisible, silent, and relentless. Rome's citizens didn't see it coming until bread comes to month's wages. Don't be them. The American Empire isn't doomed. Not yet. Not necessarily. But patterns matter. And this pattern has played out before. The only question is, are we paying attention? Next time, the Hunt brothers. Two Texas billionaires tried to corner the silver market in 1980. They nearly succeeded. Their failure almost destroyed the global financial system. And the reason they tried? They didn't trust paper money either. Subscribe to Finney Chronicles, where history meets money, power meets consequence, and every story is a warning somebody ignored.